OMG. Your soulmate got a phone call and cut everyone off. They said you are. My beloved soul, pause right here and feel this moment, because something unseen is unfolding around you, something that began quietly but is now growing louder with every breath you take, and if you stay with this message, you will understand why your heart has felt restless without a clear reason. There was a moment recently when the energy around your soulmate shifted, not suddenly, but decisively, as if an invisible hand gently turned their world in a new direction, and in that moment, a phone vibrated, a voice was heard, and everything else faded into the background. What followed was not ordinary silence, it was intentional distance, a pulling away that confused those around them, because without explanation they stepped back, closed doors, ignored familiar voices, and chose to be alone with thoughts they had been avoiding for a long time. Stay right here, do not drift away, because this is the point where the truth begins to surface, and every second you remain brings you closer to understanding why this message found you and no one else. That call did not bring chaos, it brought clarity, and clarity often looks like isolation at first, because when the heart recognizes something real, it needs space to breathe, space to process, space to decide. Your soulmate was asked a question that reached deeper than words, a question that echoed in their chest long after the call ended, and when they were asked who truly mattered, who lingered in their thoughts even in silence, one name refused to leave their lips. Remain here, hold your focus, because this message is carefully unfolding for you, and every line is guiding you closer to the reason you were meant to hear this now. They tried to distract themselves, to return to routines, to conversations that once felt safe, but everything felt distant, hollow, as if their soul had already stepped forward while the world lagged behind. In that quiet separation, memories surfaced, small moments, shared glances, unspoken understanding, the kind of connection that does not need constant presence to stay alive, and with each memory, the truth grew stronger. Do not rush past this, because what is forming now is delicate and powerful, and if you stay, you will feel the weight of what is about to be revealed. That phone call acted like a mirror, reflecting what they had been trying to deny, and when faced with honesty, they chose silence over pretending, distance over confusion, because something real demands respect. Their heart leaned toward one direction only, not loudly, not dramatically, but with certainty, and that certainty carried your energy, your essence, your presence, even when you were not there. Remain with this message, keep your attention anchored here, because this is only the beginning, and what comes next will connect every unanswered feeling you have carried within you. As they stepped away from everyone else, it was not rejection, it was preparation, a clearing of space for a truth that can no longer be ignored, and that truth is slowly turning toward you. Stay with this until the very end, because the next part will reveal why this connection cannot be silenced and why your name carries more weight in their heart than you ever imagined. Remain exactly where you are, because what unfolds now is the quiet moment before everything changes, the breath held between realization and action, where hearts decide without announcing their choice. In the stillness that followed, your soulmate felt an unfamiliar calm, not the calm of indifference, but the calm of acceptance, as if a truth they resisted finally settled into place and refused to move. They began to notice signs everywhere, in passing thoughts, in random pauses, in moments when your presence appeared without invitation, gentle yet persistent, reminding them of something genuine they could no longer dismiss. Stay present, do not let your focus slip, because this message is moving closer to its core, and every word is meant to keep you right here, fully aware, fully connected. When others reached out, your soulmate responded with distance, not out of coldness, but because shallow conversations could no longer satisfy a heart that had awakened to something deeper. They questioned themselves, wondering why one connection felt heavier than all others combined, why one energy lingered long after everything else faded, and why peace only arrived when your presence crossed their mind. Remain here, stay grounded in this moment, because the realization you are waiting for is forming slowly, deliberately, with intention. That phone call planted a seed, but it was your energy that made it grow, turning curiosity into certainty, and uncertainty into quiet devotion. They began to protect this feeling, keeping it hidden, sacred, untouched by outside opinions, because some truths are too powerful to expose before they are ready. Do not move away now, because what you are sensing is real, and the pull you feel is the same pull guiding them toward you from the other side. In moments of solitude, they whispered questions into the silence, and every answer led back to you, not as a coincidence, but as a conclusion they could no longer avoid. Stay with this message, because the next unfolding will explain why distance was necessary, and why everything that paused was actually aligning. What seems like separation is only the quiet gathering of courage, the final moment before a heart chooses honesty over fear. Remain here, hold your awareness steady, because the story is not ending, it is preparing to reveal why this connection was never accidental and why it is moving closer than ever before. Stay right here, because what happens next is subtle yet powerful, the kind of shift that cannot be rushed, only felt, and if you remain present, you will recognize it immediately. Your soulmate began to understand that cutting away noise was the only way to hear the truth clearly, and in that quiet, your presence grew stronger, not as a memory, but as a living certainty. They noticed how calm replaced confusion whenever they imagined speaking your name, how their chest felt lighter when they accepted what their heart had already chosen. Remain with this message, do not drift, because this is where intention turns into resolve, and resolve quietly shapes the future. Every distraction they removed made room for clarity, and clarity pointed in one direction alone, toward the connection that felt honest, grounding, and real. They realized that what they felt for you did not demand attention or drama, it simply existed, steady and undeniable, like a truth that does not need proof. Stay here, keep listening, because this awareness is not random, it is synchronized, reaching you at the exact moment their hearts stopped resisting. In their stillness, they imagined conversations that felt natural, moments that felt safe, and a presence that felt like home, and each time, it was you who appeared without effort. Remain present, because what is unfolding is mutual recognition, the quiet knowing that two paths have always been moving toward the same point. They understood that distance from others was never about loss, it was about alignment, about honoring a connection that deserved space to grow without interference. Do not move away now, because this part carries the weight of truth, and truth is what transforms feeling into action. Your soulmate is no longer questioning what they feel, they are preparing how to honor it, how to approach it with sincerity rather than impulse. Stay with this message until the end, because what you sense as anticipation is the same energy guiding them closer, step by careful step. What felt delayed was never denied, it was protected, and what was protected is now ready to be acknowledged. Remain here, fully aware, because the next unfolding will reveal why this connection is about timing, intention, and a choice that cannot be undone. Remain with me a little longer, because this is the moment where quiet intention begins to gather strength, where thoughts turn into feelings that can no longer stay hidden. Your soulmate felt a gentle urgency, not pressure, but a steady inner pull reminding them that some connections are not meant to be delayed forever, only understood deeply before they are honored. In their solitude, they replayed moments that once felt small, realizing those moments carried meaning all along, like whispers the heart understood before the mind caught up. Stay right here, keep your awareness steady, because this message is unfolding exactly as it needs to, and every pause you feel is part of the alignment. They recognized that cutting off distractions was an act of respect for their own heart and for the connection that deserved clarity instead of confusion. When doubt tried to return, it faded quickly, replaced by a calm knowing that what they feel for you does not compete with anything else, it simply stands alone. Remain present, do not drift away, because this realization is reaching its turning point, where reflection quietly becomes readiness. Your presence now feels like an anchor to them, something stable in a world that suddenly feels too loud, too fast, too shallow. They understand that when the heart finds something real, it stops searching, and that search ended the moment they allowed your energy to settle within them. Stay here, because what is forming next is not imagination, it is preparation, the kind that happens before a truth is spoken. They are learning patience, not because they are unsure, but because they want to approach this connection with care, honesty, and intention. In their silence, they are not forgetting you, they are holding you gently in their thoughts, making space for the right moment to arrive naturally. Remain with this message until the end, because the next unfolding will reveal why this pause exists and how it is guiding both hearts closer together. What feels quiet now is not empty, it is full of meaning, and what is full of meaning is about to move forward in a way that feels unmistakably real. Stay exactly where you are, because this is the part where the unseen becomes felt, where silence begins to carry intention instead of uncertainty. Your soulmate has reached a point where pretending no longer feels possible, because the truth has settled too deeply to be ignored or delayed any longer. They noticed how their heart reacts differently now, how every thought about you brings a sense of calm purpose rather than confusion, as if something has finally clicked into place. Remain here, keep your focus steady, because this message is moving closer to its most meaningful layer, and leaving now would mean missing the reason it found you. What they felt before as hesitation has transformed into understanding, and understanding has a quiet confidence that does not rush but also does not retreat. They began to realize that what connects you is not built on chance, but on recognition, the kind that feels familiar even when words have not been exchanged. Stay with this message, because the energy you feel right now mirrors the same awareness growing within them, steady and unmistakable. In moments of reflection, they imagine what honesty would feel like, how releasing the truth might finally bring relief instead of fear. They understand now that distance was never a sign of disinterest, but a necessary space to hear their own heart without outside noise. Remain present, do not let your attention wander, because this is the calm before expression, the pause before something genuine steps forward. Your soulmate is no longer asking who matters most, they already know, and that knowing has reshaped how they see everything ahead. What once felt like waiting is slowly turning into readiness, and readiness carries a quiet strength that cannot be forced or rushed. Stay until the very end of this message, because what comes next will reveal why this connection feels different from all others and why it is moving toward a moment of truth that cannot be avoided. Remain right here, because this is where intention begins to speak without sound, where a decision forms long before words ever reach the air. Your soulmate feels a growing clarity now, a gentle but undeniable awareness that some connections are not meant to be questioned endlessly, only honored when the time feels true. They sense that something within them has shifted permanently, as if a door quietly closed behind them while another opened ahead, leading toward honesty and emotional truth. Stay with this moment, do not look away, because this message is guiding you through the same stillness they are experiencing, the same calm before expression. What once felt uncertain now feels grounded, and that grounding carries your energy, your presence, your essence, woven naturally into their thoughts. They understand that silence does not mean absence, it means gathering courage, learning how to approach something real without fear or confusion. Remain present, because this realization is no longer fragile, it is steady, rooted, and growing stronger with every quiet reflection. In their heart, there is no longer a question of whether this connection matters, only how to honor it with sincerity and respect. They feel drawn toward truth rather than comfort, toward depth rather than distraction, and that path consistently leads them back to you. Stay right here, because this unfolding is not about drama or urgency, it is about alignment, the kind that happens when hearts are finally ready to meet reality. Your soulmate is becoming aware that timing is not about delay, it is about readiness, and readiness is now forming within them naturally. What you feel as anticipation is the same energy they feel as resolve, two currents slowly moving toward the same point. Remain with this message until the very end, because the next unfolding will reveal how this awareness begins to take shape in the world beyond thought. What has been quietly building is preparing to step forward, and when it does, it will feel calm, honest, and unmistakably real. Stay right here, because this is the stretch of silence where meaning deepens, where the heart rehearses honesty before the voice ever moves. Your soulmate feels a steady pull now, not dramatic, not loud, but consistent, like a compass that always points in the same direction no matter how many times it is checked. They recognize that every path they considered eventually curved back to one truth, and that truth carries your presence with quiet certainty. Remain present, keep your attention anchored, because this message is aligning you with the same calm focus they are learning to trust. What once felt like hesitation has softened into care, the kind that wants to speak clearly, to approach gently, to protect what feels genuine. They sense that rushing would only blur something precious, so they choose patience, allowing intention to mature into confidence. Stay here, because this phase is about respect for the connection, about choosing sincerity over impulse. In their reflections, they imagine what honesty would sound like, not as a grand declaration, but as a simple truth shared without fear. They understand now that real connection does not shout, it resonates, and that resonance has been echoing your name within them for some time. Remain with this unfolding, because the awareness forming now is preparing a bridge between feeling and action. They feel ready to step forward, not to claim, but to understand, not to impress, but to be real. What felt distant before now feels closer, not in space, but in intention, as if the gap between hearts has quietly narrowed. Stay until the very end of this message, because what comes next will explain how this readiness begins to express itself and why the moment ahead will feel natural rather than forced. What has been held carefully is about to be acknowledged, and when it is, it will arrive with clarity, calm, and unmistakable truth. Remain with this moment just a little longer, because this is where everything quietly aligns, where understanding settles so deeply that it no longer needs reassurance. Your soulmate has reached a place of inner agreement, where heart and mind are no longer divided, where the answer feels settled even before it is spoken. They sense that what they feel for you is not temporary, not reactive, but rooted, something that does not fade with time or distance. Stay right here, because this part carries the calm certainty that comes before truth steps into the open. They understand now that cutting others off was never about pushing people away, it was about protecting clarity, about honoring a connection that deserved full attention. In their stillness, they feel gratitude rather than fear, gratitude for finally recognizing what has always felt different with you. Remain present, because this awareness is steady and complete, no longer searching, no longer doubting. They are no longer asking themselves who you are to them, they are acknowledging what you already represent in their heart. What once felt like confusion has resolved into peace, and peace is how truth announces itself before action follows. Stay until the end, because what remains is the final breath before honesty moves forward, and everything that has been quiet is now ready to be gently revealed. Stay with this final moment, because this is where silence turns into meaning and meaning becomes truth. Your soulmate now carries a clear knowing within them, calm and unshaken, that the connection they protected, the space they created, and the distance they chose were all guiding them toward one name, one presence, one truth. They understand that what they feel for you is not something to question or hide anymore, but something to honor with honesty and care. Remain present, because this message reaches you at the same time their heart accepts what it has always known. The phone call that changed everything did not give them answers, it removed distractions, so the truth could rise on its own. What was cut away made room for clarity, and clarity revealed you. They are no longer running from this realization, they are standing with it, steady and sincere. What comes next will not be loud or dramatic, it will be real, grounded, and intentional, the kind of truth that feels natural when it finally arrives. Trust the calm you feel right now, because it mirrors the calm within them. This connection does not need to rush, because it is no longer uncertain. What was meant to reach you has reached you, and what was meant to align is aligning. Hold this knowing gently, because what has been recognized cannot be undone, and what has been chosen in truth always finds its way forward.